Welcome everybody to round 10 out of 10 here in MF1 Season 2, and to finish off this season we arrive here at the final round here at Abu Dhabi at the Yas Marina circuit to decide who is going to be the Season 2 World Champion. The two contenders for this World Championship is Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. If Max Verstappen wants to win this title, he will have to win the race, but Lando Norris will have to finish worse than 5th. And all Lando Norris has to do to win this World Championship is 1. Not finish worse than 5th, 2. Win the race, and 3. Not DNF. Out of the two championship contenders, Lando Norris is favored to win. Today is going to be a very busy day for McLaren and Red Bull and Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. Now let's take a look at the track analysis. 58 laps around this 3.2 mile racetrack. There are 16 corners and 2 DRS zones. The best overtaking zone to make a pass on this racetrack is at turn 5. It's commonly used to make dive bombs on other drivers. Now let's take a look at the tire compounds for today's Grand Prix. Hard C3s, medium C4, and soft C5s. The race strategy for today is a 2-stop race for all the teams. It's going to take 58 laps to decide the world champion in MF1 Season 2. What a season it has been. Can Max Verstappen defend his previous world championship and go 2 in a row? Or can Lando Norris win his first ever MF1 World Championship? Let's go ahead and find out. As the drivers are about to start the formation lap, let's go ahead and meet the grid.
Valtteri Bottas and the Cadillac will be starting off in the back of the pack, followed by Lance Stroll right beside him, the Aston Martin. In front of them is Pierre Gasly in the Alpine and Sergio Perez in the Cadillac. In front of them is Franco Colapinto and Gabriel Bortoleto. In front of them is Nico Hülkenberg and Yuki Tsunoda. In front of them is Oliver Behrman and Fernando Alonso. And in front of them is Esteban Ocon and Fred Vesti subbing in for George Russell. In front of them are both Ferraris of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, and in front of them is Oscar Piastri and Kimi Antonelli with his best qualifying result of the season. And in front of them are both championship contenders of Max Verstappen and Lando Norris being on pole. All Lando Norris has to do to win this championship is maintain his lead or finish ahead of Max Verstappen. If Max Verstappen wants to win this championship, he needs Lando Norris to finish worse than 5th. This championship battle is going to be really intense. It can either go in Max Verstappen's favor or Lando Norris's favor, but we're going to have to find out as the drivers have completed the formation lap and they are ready at the line for the start of the Grand Prix. Here we are, folks. We've all been waiting for this moment. 58 laps to decide who the champion will be. Let's find out. Lights out and away we go. Lando Norris ready to defend against Max Verstappen. Oh, but make way. Here comes Oscar Piastri with the 3-wide move on Verstappen, and he passes Max Verstappen from 4th to 2nd on the grid. Oscar Piastri gets by as Kimi Antonelli's putting pressure on Max Verstappen. But this is a wonderful start for both McLarens as Lando Norris is leading this race. And he's in a good position to win the championship, especially with his teammate right behind him. He can defend against Verstappen as Kimi Antonelli powers by Max Verstappen and moves at the P3. George Russell had a detrimental start in the previous championship race, and his old rival Max Verstappen will have a detrimental start for his championship race this season as Max Verstappen is down a P4 at the start of this Grand Prix. But Lando Norris is leading, Oscar Piastri right behind him, Kimi Antonelli in 3rd. That's your top 3. But the stewards will be looking at the 3-wide move Piastri made. What an incredible way to start off this Grand Prix while Piastri's being investigated for this incident right here. As you see, Piastri made this incredible pass on Max Verstappen, but he had 2 wheels off the racing surface. This could have gave him an advantage to pass Max Verstappen, but there is no more investigation from the stewards as Oscar Piastri had 2 wheels on the track and 2 wheels off the track. And as long as you don't have 4 wheels off the track while making a pass, you are clear to race without no penalties and issues. As Oscar Piastri won't be given a penalty for having 2 wheels off the track while passing Max Verstappen. Piastri putting pressure on his teammate Lando Norris, who's trying to fight for the championship right here, but Piastri seems like he's going to try going for the race lead. Here comes Piastri. He's going to go low coming into turn 5. Norris is trying to fight for a championship, but it seems like it doesn't matter for Oscar Piastri. He's trying to take this lead away from his teammate as we make our way into turn 5. Here comes Oscar Piastri, takes the lead away from championship contender Lando Norris and moves it to P1 as McLaren won't be happy with that.
Oscar Piastri has just been told by McLaren to give the race lead back to Lando Norris, so Lando Norris can win this race and potentially win the World Championship, as McLaren told Oscar Piastri not to be on offense but to play defense for Lando Norris, as McLaren is really playing by the Papaya rules today. Yuki Tsunoda putting pressure on Nico Hülkenberg as Hülkenberg tries to defend. Here comes Yuki Tsunoda down low, laying on the brakes into turn 5, and Yuki Tsunoda, driving for Red Bull Racing, is going to get by the Audi of Nico Hülkenberg and moves up to P11. What a wonderful pass done by the Japanese boy. Antonelli under pressure from Max Verstappen as Verstappen looks low, laying on the brakes into turn 1. Max Verstappen is going to get by Kimi Antonelli. This is very good for him in the World Championship as Max Verstappen moves up to P3 and makes a wonderful pass on Kimi Antonelli. First round of pit stops now begin as Max Verstappen is into the pits, the defending world champion. He won the MF1 Season 1 World Championship, trying to go for his second title in a row. But it seems like he really needs luck right now as Lando Norris is leading this Grand Prix, which is not good for him as he's back on the racetrack. The race leader and the championship leader is now into the pits. Lando Norris is having an outstanding day. Norris has had numerous outstanding days, but this one might be the most important as Lando Norris is in position to win this World Championship. This could be the best day of his life if he maintains his lead as he's back out on the racetrack. Oscar Piastri is now into the pits. Earlier on, he made a pass on Lando Norris and took the lead away, but McLaren told him to back off and play defense for McLaren as Max Verstappen is now catching up to Oscar Piastri. Piastri cannot let Verstappen by because if anything happens to Lando Norris, he can't have Verstappen win this race. Piastri under pressure from Max Verstappen as Verstappen looks slow, laying on the brakes into turn 1, and Max Verstappen will move up to P2. This is wonderful for him in the World Championship if something happens to Lando Norris as Verstappen passes Piastri. Oh, but this battle's not over yet as Verstappen's under pressure from Oscar Piastri. Piastri on the attack. Piastri trying to fight for this position to defend for Lando Norris as Max Verstappen's hopes of winning this championship could be in jeopardy as they're side by side heading to turn 5. The fans on their feet, they're cheering. Look at this. Piastri powers by Max Verstappen and moves up to P2. Piastri being the absolute teammate he is, helping out Lando Norris, but this battle's still not over as on this straight you can activate DRS and Max Verstappen does so. Max Verstappen activates DRS and finally passes Oscar Piastri. What a battle these two are having. What a battle they shared, but Verstappen will win it as he moves up to P2. Ocon under pressure from Alonso. As Alonso looks low, Ocon tries to defend. There's nothing that he can do. Here comes Fernando Alonso as he powers by Esteban Ocon and moves up to the 8th position. What a wonderful pass. The second and last round of pit stops now begin as Max Verstappen really needs a turning point in this race. He needs something to happen to Lando Norris so he can win this championship. But the chances of a safety car or a red flag happening is very, very low. So this could be the unfortunate end of Max Verstappen's championship triumph. Race leader and championship leader Lando Norris is now into the pits. He's in position to win his first ever MF1 World Championship. He just can't have anything come his way. As Lando Norris and McLaren are hoping that nothing goes wrong and they could come to a happy championship victory ending. Lewis Hamilton now under pressure from Fred Vesti as Vesti down low, light on the brakes and in the chicane now, and Fred Vesti driving for Mercedes, subbing in for George Russell, will make a pass on Lewis Hamilton and he moves up to P6. A wonderful move from Fred Vesti. Kimi Antonelli's in trouble as he has Charles Leclerc in tow. Leclerc now down low and light on the brakes and into turn 1, and Charles Leclerc driving for Ferrari makes an immaculate pass on Kimi Antonelli and moves up to P4. And after 10 rounds and 58 laps today, Lando Norris wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and is your MF1 Season 2 champion of the world. Lando Norris gets it done as Max Verstappen finishes second. He's going to have to pass the crown over to Lando Norris. He gave it his all, but it wasn't enough as things didn't play out his way as Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris' teammate, finishes third. A great day for McLaren as Norris wins it all.
You've done it, mate. You've done it. Oh, about time.
Lando Norris and McLaren is going to celebrate all night long after they have won the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship as we have a massive crash. Car upside down. Franco Colapinto. What has happened here? I think this is at turn 5. What a way to end this wonderful Grand Prix as McLaren celebrates and Alpine sits in disappointment as one of their cars is flipped upside down at turn 5. Lando Norris is your MF1 Season 2 World Champion as he burns it down in front of the crowd doing donuts. He's still going as Lando Norris and McLaren have a reason to celebrate all night long as they win the World Championship. Lando Norris won his very first race this season, but coming to the end of the season, he wins his first ever World Championship. As he has one of the greatest seasons a single MF1 driver can have. 5 victories over the course of 10 races. That is over half of this season. But at the other side of the paddock, it is disappointment at Red Bull as Max Verstappen loses this World Championship by 24 points. That DNF at Las Vegas probably ruined his whole entire championship run. Max Verstappen will forever be haunted by that single DNF that ruined his whole season. But now, let's go check out what happened on the final lap between Franco Colapinto and Gabriel Bortoleto. Let's see, coming to turn 5, Bortoleto down low. Oh, they made contact, and it was a wheel hop, and Franco Colapinto just rolls over. Oh, man, similar to Nico Hulkenberg at Australia this season. This season opened with a flip, and it's going to close with a flip. Tough luck for Franco Colapinto and Gabriel Bortoleto. They were both running outside of the top 10. Let's see again right here. Bortoleto with an extremely late lunge. Really late lunge. And then they made contact between the wheels, and that set Colapinto flipping and flying. And it's a disappointing end to the season for Franco Colapinto and Gabriel Bortoleto as they DNF on the final lap. Alright, now let's take a look at the race results. Norris, Verstappen, Piastri, Leclerc, Antonelli, Vesti, Hamilton, Alonso, Ocon, and Behrman. Those are all the people who get points. Both of the Haas's finish in the top 10. Great day for Haas. Now take a look at the Drivers' Championship. Lando Norris wins it all. He's in first place. Verstappen second, Piastri third, Hamilton fourth, Leclerc fifth, Antonelli sixth, Russell seventh, Alonso eighth, Behrman ninth, and Gasly is in 10th. Now let's take a look at the Constructors' Championship. McLaren absolutely whooped everybody with 304 points. Ferrari's in second, Red Bull third, Mercedes fourth, Haas fifth, Alpine sixth, Aston Martin seventh, Audi eighth, and Cadillac is in last place at the 9th spot. I want to thank you all for supporting me in MF1. I put a lot of work into these videos. They take hours and hours or even days or even weeks to make. This whole entire MF1 series would not continue if it wasn't for you guys. I appreciate all the support on these videos, and I greatly thank you for supporting and watching these MF1 races. And it's a storybook ending for McLaren and Lando Norris, and I thank you all deeply for watching MF1 Season 2. As it comes to a close, MF1 Season 3 will be coming on in the near future, so make sure to stay tuned, as I hope to see you all in MF1 Season 3.